Yeah.
All right. Call to order this meeting of the Park and Rec Commission. We'll start with the approval of minutes from last meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting, which was November 1st.
Got a motion, we got a second?
I'll second that.
Anybody got any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Then we got the approval of claims. Looks like this is back in front today. Any questions on the first page?
If I can, quick point out, the first Cintas one that you see on the first page where it says 1,028.85, that was a typo. It should be $128.85, the same as the ones below it.
Anything on the second page? All the trees get planted?
Got them in.
All right, we got approval of the claimants.
I'll make a motion to accept the list of claims on the voucher list that's presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now on public comment. Doesn't look like we have any quiet place today. All right, we got final 2024 budget update.
Okay, the 2024 budget was approved at the November 14th Common Council meeting, along with the capital requests that made it for us. Our operating budget was approved as presented here and approved here at Park and Rec Commission, so we're thankful for that. And our capital remained the same as what I had updated you guys on last time. We were able to receive funding for the Otts boat ramp. The ramp itself, remember the dock is going to be from County ARPA with the kayak, ADA kayak launch. But we were fortunate to get the boat ramp there. That boat ramp is in terrible shape, as you guys all know. And it would be a little embarrassing if we put a new nice docking system in there and the ramp is unusable. Riverside.
Excuse me, does that include any parking revamping or?
No, just the
ramp itself?
Just the ramp itself.
Okay.
Yep. Riverside Dock was included in the funding as well. The Nicholas Bridge was included in there, and tables and chairs for the Smith Center and Agra Pavilion. So we're fortunate to get anything. We'll take it. We had a fairly lengthy list of requests that we put in, and when we get to work on budget for 2024, like I typically do, we'll include the things that were not funded and roll those into the next set of discussions for 2025.
Mr. Wendorf, what might be the next priority for you in terms of on the budget next year?
As far as capital, or?
Right.
There's a long list.
But do you have any one particular one that sticks out that we're going to have to do?
I mean, there's a few things. I think one of the things that it's kind of a minor thing, but the basketball courts at Streeter Square are beyond the point of, if we're not going to fix them, we should just get rid of them, because they are that unplayable and unsightly. Yeah, I'd have to look a little more carefully at what we've got. There are certain things too that, depending on condition and other things, that rise to the top, and there's things that, you know, we can get by with. You know, equipment is always one of the things that can take over a capital list if we have equipment that begins to fail, or we do have some pieces of equipment that are aging out. So there'll probably be a piece or two next year that we'll have to put on there that, when push comes to shove, might have to be a priority 1 or a 2 over the top of a physical development or something like that. Bless you. So,
I don't want to put you on the spot.
yeah, no, I know that there's a few things that have been on several lists that will come in at in the top 5 for sure. Any other questions?
The trees look good on South Center Avenue.
Thanks, yeah.
What species did you put in?
We
You
planted,
planted a lot.
yeah, I think we went with 8 or 9 different species there. We have some because we had to go with some smaller species, so we have some 3 or 4 different kinds of flowering crab, 2 different kinds of Japanese tree lilacs. On some of the areas where it did fan out with a little bit more room, we did a few hybrid, like they're called autumn blaze maples, that grow a little bit smaller. Parkland pillar, birch. So yeah, there was a good variety. One of the things we're trying to do, especially in those high visibility corridors, is have a little bit of height variation, a little bit of color variation. Color being flowering in the spring, different timing of flowers in the spring into summer, and then different colors in the fall, so it looks neat.
I noticed it was just on one side of the road. Was that planned that way, or?
Yes and no. Yes, we tried a couple on the other side
Okay.
the year before, and there's an individual there that plows the sidewalk and clipped off the 3 that we planted there last year. So we will continue to work with that person to.
Okay.
The other thing that we're going to do is the city actually owns almost 20 feet of right-of-way on the west side of the road there and onto the back side of the sidewalk, so we'll probably plant on the other side of the sidewalk there. We've been
Is that
trying to, we
narrow?
did that out by Culvers, from Culvers to Cobblestone.
Yeah.
So it,
Hopefully they survive. I know there's a lot of plowing and salting and
yeah. Hopefully they do.
deer.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
we'll see.
Yeah. Other questions?
Thanks, Dan. Next, we got the update on the Lincoln County ARPA request.
All right. I did have a chance to meet with County Administrator and some of her team that she has working on ARPA things. That was shortly after our last meeting, I think the 9th maybe it was. But yeah, we met there for a couple hours and had some good discussions. Didn't get any real definitive answers yet. I know that after talking with Renee and Mike and Dean and such, it's very clear that they're big fans of the Map-It app. So we talked quite a bit about that, and they're going to have a group of people dedicated to helping with it, and so will we. I talked to Kate, our GIS specialist, as well, and she's excited to cooperate and help us with this, because in talking with the developer, the app developer, they sent me some information that is above my level of understanding when it comes to technology, formatting of global positioning formulas and code and other things like that. So Kate, when I ran it past Kate, she said, yeah, all you have to do is this, that, this, and that. So she'll be a big help, as will her counterpart at Lincoln County, too, when we try to do this holistically. I've talked with Steve up at Tomahawk as well, and we may need to help them a little bit more than others. I don't know that they're as specialized or as have the capabilities that we do here, but like we had talked, this is something that we want to attract visitors to Lincoln County, and obviously as the county seat here, we're all going to see a benefit in this as well. So a good discussion there, so we're gonna all move forward as a map it team, I guess, if you will, to try and help one another make this become a reality. I also did discuss this at our tourism meeting, but with the recurring cost, there's a, and she said it could be between $2,000 and $6,000 a year for their hosting fee and app management and maintenance. She thought that, we're not all that specialized. We would probably be closer to the 2 to 3 range, but we would qualify each year for tourism dollars, and this would be split amongst everybody. So, the city of Merrill, maybe a few of the townships, Lincoln County and Tomahawk, if we split that yearly cost, we're looking at, $500-600 a piece maybe, which is much more palatable than one entity paying $2,000 to $3,000 every year. So, the one thing that they did not qualify, or they told me would not qualify, is the Nicholas Bridge. They were looking for things that would, initiatives that would attract tourism and visitors to the community. City Forest Shelter, one of our other requests, that was probably, at least if I was reading the room correctly, their second most of interest. And they asked me to come up with a little bit, not fancier isn't the right word, a more elaborate design, something that would be a little bit more functional than just putting a shelter up there. So I've been working with Huff Cut, and yesterday I finally got Huff Cut that has done our restrooms. It's all precast concrete. They can only do structures and truck them here with certain dimensions. So the design I got yesterday was 24.5 by 27, I believe, but it would still have to be 2 separate structures that they combine on site, and they can put 7-foot, like a entry door in between them, so we could do a shelter of that size and in the precast category. So I'm going to keep working on that a little bit and see if we can come up with something, whether it be like a wick type building, something that's steel and a little bit longer lasting. One of my biggest fears up there, that's why we were going to stick with a shelter, was it doesn't have as many eyes on it as we do in our normal city parks. We do have some vandalism up there, different kind of vandalism, a lot of people dumping appliances and other things like that, but we've had people doing burnouts and damaging our gates and other things by hooking up their trucks and pulling them. That's why I was hoping that we could get something from Huff Cut that's precast concrete that you would almost have to bring a wrecking ball with to damage. So we'll continue to work on that. And then the other two was the canoe kayak facilities, and that was, as we kind of discussed, trying to systematically look at some better areas of on-off for the prairie and the Wisconsin rivers, and that was something that definitely did pique their interest, and we'll continue to kind of work as Bill Bertram works his way north with our Great Pinery Heritage Waterway Trail, because they are moving our way next. So before we go too much further in that, we'll kind of identify a few locations and see what that would all entail. And same with Trail Connections too, with helping out Riverbend Trail with that new section by the wastewater facility going towards or around the corner by Big Eddy there. And part of the reason why we haven't really gotten an answer yet too from the county, an official answer though, is they still have money that they're looking to try and help some of the townships in the county out with as well. So but there was some real positive conversation. I feel pretty comfortable that at least 2, if not 3 of these things we will get assistance with or have funded. And then there's going to be some others that are on the periphery that we'll have to wait and see if somebody does turn in a funding request that would meet their criteria, that piques their interest. They want to also make sure that they can help as many people as possible with this investment and not just funnel everything into the city. So Yeah, any questions on any of those?
I have a question. On the connecting bridge between Prairie Dells, City Forest, any movement on that?
Yep. Last week, Dean and I were in on a meeting with five people from the DNR, some engineers, some water regs people, and a few other guys that I don't even remember what their title was, but they're all, this is what they deal with. A little over an hour, but we discussed the site and wetland impacts. There was a couple of the individuals, the DNR individuals, initially that thought that that we may be impacting floodway, but after we pulled a elevation map there, so part of it is, if you look on maps, and this is one of the things that the DNR is good at, is they like to look at things on a computer screen or on a piece of paper, and the elevation there shows you tight breaks, there's some slope in and around that area, but practicality of it, because we had pictures with, is when we go, the reason why Dean and I finally found this spot was we have bedrock, natural abutments that are elevated at least 10 feet above the river. So, after a fair amount of conversation, it sounds like they are going to possibly give us a waiver and not make us jump through the hoops. It's not guaranteed yet, but tomorrow, and Dean just stopped out by me this afternoon and grabbed a key for the city forest, they have Tony Dahlman, who's one of their land specialist guys, is going to take and shoot some elevations on both sides, Prairie Dells and our side. So they'll take the UTV out through the city forest and shoot a couple elevations, and then go around and shoot both on the lowland area and on the outcroppings that we chose, and then again on the other side, so we can send that to the DNR so that they can actually get real factual elevation on where that is. So the bridge company is going to send their engineer up here hopefully within the next few weeks. I know that they've been a little bit short-handed, and they have to come up from Chilton, Wisconsin, which is 3 hours away, but that's still moving in a positive direction. It's still a thumbs up. It's just a matter then of making it work. And I know Rod went with Dean and I the last time we went up there too, and looked at the possibility and the plausibility of an access trail going into there too, because we're going to have to find a good way. But luckily the terrain getting from Prairie Dells Road, the county road, into there is actually pretty flat. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
I guess for that city forest shelter, I guess I wasn't sure. Is it going to be a 4-season shelter out there, or I guess I wasn't sure what.
So the original ask was just to have a regular covered shelter with
Right.
pillars, and county asked me to see what it would take to. The Huff Cut would be 4 seasons.
Okay.
It would be concrete, precast concrete walls, concrete roof, and steel doors. Something that they could use without having to put tarps on it in the wintertime for the Iron Bowl race or Badger State games or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think the new intention, depending on funding and where it comes back at, would be to, I guess, be prepared for any of the scenarios that would come out.
Okay.
If we need to go back to a 3-season shelter, we could do that, or the possibility of waiting and doing something that way. I know Chad and I had also discussed, and I don't know what's going to end up becoming of it, but the portable classrooms that they had at Jefferson School. If MAPS doesn't know what to do with them, that might be something that we would have to pay. Probably would assume if that's a possibility. You know, we'd have to look at what it would take to prep the site and hire somebody to move it out there. But
Yeah, I just, like you said, the Badger State Games, and I know they do utilize the bike trails in the winter quite a bit, so I think
Yeah.
4-season would make a lot of sense.
yeah, and it would be something that would be, you know, it wouldn't be accessible to any and everybody all the time. You know, it'd be like our park shelters. It wouldn't be running water or anything like that, but we, you know, if ideally, that's why I was hoping that Huff Cut could do something. Because if it's all concrete, then we could put a little potbelly fireplace in there, and if we have, you know, like if it's Chris Schutz who does a lot of stuff up there for us, you know, we could make sure that he has a key. He lives right up there. If they're doing a biking event, even if it's a unofficial event, you know, they could go in there and warm up. Most of the stuff they do is they got people coming from all over the place doing even unofficial rides all the time.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be something where we just leave the door open. It wouldn't last
Right.
long.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
They're looking at, if you're thinking 4 seasons, what are you doing for power? Not have any, or?
We'd probably,
I mean, with
if
a
it's,
full concrete structure, it's gonna be kinda hard to get light in there. won't it?
probably the only way that we would be able to do it would be some small little, like a solar panel or something on top. If we could, you know, there it's a nice, pretty clean horizon. That would probably be our best bet, other than, you know, a generator or something like that, or LP. All things to contemplate.
Anybody got anything else for Dan?
Trail development, has there been any more up on that forested land, city forest? Any development of,
Well,
You got
most of the
some
trails that were scratched out and planned to be done are done on the new Sumnicht property.
okay.
So that added almost 2 additional miles of bike trail. We rented a mini excavator back in June, and Chris Schutz and a few volunteers got it done. So they were in use before they were even done already. So yeah, it has already been a hit.
Pretty good?
Yep.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Next, we got consider names for the connector trail connecting Prairie Trails to Riverbend Trail.
Okay. I just scratched out a few things that I've been racking my brain for a while on this, and on the bottom there you can see that I don't expect us to make up our minds right now or right away, but I just wanted to stimulate your brains a little bit on some things, because we will probably have the ability to do some major work on this next year. There are most likely going to be some resolutions, and not in the paper resolutions, but some problems being solved on the Freemark area up there if the housing development goes through, which would most likely finally give us access to connect from Prairie Trails down to the Riverbend Trail. So before we, you know, as we get moving on this, I think it's in our best interest to name it, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You know, I've always been calling it the Connector Trail, but it sometimes is nice to have a catchy name to it. When we go to buy signs and other things like that, I just want to see what your thoughts are. And on the sheet that you see there too, I just kind of trying to rack my brain about some history of Merrill and other things like that. So there's just some ideas. For those that are watching the delay or whatnot, Prairie River Path, obviously a majority of this is intended to, the initial dream on this back, Ted Nickel and I, back in the early 2000s was to have a path that ran all the way along the Prairie River, but it's just too difficult. There was too many private landowners, and it would have been very difficult to try and get 100 easements from north to south, south to north, whichever direction you want. But Prairie River Path seems fairly straightforward. Jenny Bull Falls obviously was the first name of our community. River Rat, some of these are just topics that I put on paper, but obviously statue near the library. Everybody here, whether you do or don't know, I mean, River Rat was one of the major professions around here. You have to be 9 shades of crazy to do what these guys did, but they made a living doing it, floating the logs down the river and sorting them when they got to their destinations. Pinery Path, Andrew Warren obviously was the person that built the first dam here, which led to a lot of the mills. 1883 was when the city of Merrill became the city of Merrill, and the first common council was formed, and we elected our first mayor. Prairie Trail, this is probably a little too close, but I was trying to get cute with it. Might be confusing with Prairie Trails, but it's the trail that runs along the Prairie River. Prairie Bend, a combination of Prairie Trails and River Bend. Tributary Trail, John Faley. A lot of homework that I did. I guess I've never heard this before, but a number of publications and historical documents credit him as being the actual first settler here in Merrill. Then just a few topics: Northwoods, Glacier. I didn't want to swipe the Ice Age because obviously we have Ice Age Trail. Logging, Blue Jays. T.B. Scott is probably the most famous name, which is surprising because Sherburne Merrill was the GM for the Chicago-Illinois Railroad that came here and named the city after him. And August H. Stang was a prominent lumber baron and influential figure. So just a few things to think of if anybody has a little creativity in your mind and wants to stew on that for
I don't have any creativity, but I had picked out something, it's real similar to your first one. I just went Prairie Pathway,
Yeah.
kind of taken off river. Prairie Pathway or Pathways.
I like that one. Yeah, and if we want to just think on it, we can put this on our next agenda or 2 agendas, whatever it is, just to run it past some people, see what we come up with. I know we've been down this road before. If we do a public, it's hard to say this without. Sometimes when we engage in the public, you get some good ideas. You get sometimes 5, sometimes 5,000, and there are times where if you don't choose some or any of them, then everyone gets mad. So I guess maybe an assignment would be to run this past some of your friends and family over the holidays, and then next month, maybe February, see what we come up with. And if you have a thought and you don't want to write it down, or you want to just email me, I'll make sure I keep a running tally of what we got in the idea hopper.
Any time of the day or night.
Anytime. Just don't let it slip away.
Yeah.
I keep a notepad by my bed.
I'd like for more discussion next meeting coming up. Well, next we got monthly reports.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? None?
I did see the lights. When did me and Renee go out there? Tuesday, I think we drove out. Wednesday. They look nice.
Those are nice. That was one of those about times, we were supposed to get them a number of years ago this was a TID project, but it was turned down for whatever reason, and it came back around. But yeah, the difference that makes and on the entire grounds is fantastic, and I'm hoping that it helps, even especially spring, summer, and fall too, for people that want to exercise or just be out there when the weather's nice. You don't feel creeped out when you're back in that corner by the bathrooms or the playground or the softball fields. When it gets dark there, it gets dark. So that was a great thing to have finished, and a special thanks to the street department. They did most of the work, and Todd Nino from Nino Electric came by and he handled all the wiring. So thanks to everybody that helped make that happen. Otherwise, I mean, from a Park and Rec standpoint, we're in that transition period. Ice has been in now for over a month, and things have been going pretty good there. Knock on wood, no real issues. Youth are in their middle of their games and tournaments, and the high school team, the Blue Jacks, East Merrill United, has a few games under their belt already. So looking forward to continuing on with that. Once we turn the page on 2023 and hit January, February, we get even busier out there with figure skating show and the high school hockey tournament and a few more tournaments and larger events there. So looking forward to that. As I think we had talked already, I was going to mention a special thanks to our guys. That was the most trees that we've ever planted since I've been here. 180 trees is a pretty cool milestone, and hopefully we can continue to plant more. We were fortunate to have some capital funding that we were able to beg for a few years ago. Part of this is for tree replacement, but up until not that long ago, when there was road construction, we would come back through and plant trees in those areas, because a lot of people obviously would request them, but it would come out of our small little tree planting budget. And by the time we were done handling all the requests, we were hardly ever able to plant ahead and restock areas in our parks that needed it, and other areas that we wanted to plant that we were falling behind on. So if we can continue, funding is what it comes down to. But from a city council standpoint, if they continue to support us, we can plant more trees. And if we're going to try next year for 200, let's say, if funding allows, we'll probably have to start a little bit earlier. It's always, for us, it's timing. We can't do it in the spring. Spring is always a delicate time to plant it, and you have to order them, get them, plant them right away. But that's usually the time where we're getting parks up and running, pool up and running, all of our rec programs, all the high school sports, mowing. We're just swamped, and that's not an exaggeration. Fall we're busy enough the way it is, but fall, we don't have so many hard deadlines, like there's a ball game at 4, we got to mow this and we have to do that. So it works out real good. And then this Friday, on the 8th, is Winter Wonderland. That's at the Agra Pavilion, 5 to 8. This will be the second year, and special thanks to Dawn. She put a ton of blood, sweat, tears, and hard work into the Winter Wonderland event, and really thanks Dawn for all of what you do to make that happen. So if everybody's going to be around, stop down, check it out. The real Santa Claus is going to be there, and some elves. So if you do have a list that you didn't share with the big fella, now is going to be your chance to go down and share the list. So otherwise, I think I put it in here too, but I always like to take just a quick minute to say thank you to everybody this time of year. If people realize how many lives that we touch and impact and affect in a year through the different programs that we do, the spaces that we provide, the Aquatic Center, the Smith Center, even things as simple as providing good park shelters and spaces. We come across thousands and thousands of people every year, and hopefully we all do it with a smile on our face, I think, and make everybody as happy as we possibly can. Sometimes it's impossible, but that starts here with you guys too. taking good care of us, making decisions, helping us out along the way, and allowing us to do what we do at Parks and Rec, and always supporting us in our department. So thank you guys. All the sponsors that we have that help us with T-shirts and different programs and all the other things that we do. We can't do without the great business community here and the people that contribute their time and their talents and their finances to help us do what we do. City Hall, City Council, all of our different departments and colleagues here that work for the city, that, you know, we work together with pretty much everybody in the city to help do what we do. We're not shy to ask other departments to help us out, and we always make sure that we reciprocate with whatever we can to help them out. Taxpayers need to know that. I go through this same speech at the city council meetings, especially budget meetings too. I mean, the amount of money that we do save our community by working together is a tremendous amount each year. We're talking northwards of 100,000+ just us on the money that we save. And you know, I've been here long enough now to know that I've been on the other side of this where there was not a whole lot of cooperation, but we have a good group of departments and people that care about the city, care about what they do, and work together so that we don't have to rent things and we don't have to do extra things because so-and-so wouldn't help us out. So it all goes hand in hand. So thanks everybody for another great year, and looking forward to 2024. It is strange to say that we are almost done with another year.
Thank you too, Dan. You're
Yeah.
included in that.
Right.
I was just going to ask as well, did you need any help setting up for that Winter Wonderland or any volunteer efforts?
I'm down there in
Yeah.
the morning until,
Okay. I should be able to help that day, so.
actually we'll be down there tomorrow morning at 4:30 doing the outside. I'm sorry, 8:30 in the morning doing
Okay.
the outside.
I was like, yeah, that's a little early.
8:30. So if you want to stop down and help put up lights.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Next, we got set the date for next meeting.
So I talked to, over the last couple of years, we've skipped our January meeting just with the proximity to holidays and everything like that. Is everybody, and I talked to Dan a little bit about this too. He was the one that actually brought it up to me when I talked to him the other day, but is everyone okay taking January off and starting fresh on Feb 7?
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, it gives us another month to think about this too.
Come up with some catchy tunes.
Yeah.
It's completely up to you.
It's fine with me.
Just make a call to the chair if something does come up.
Yep, okay.
It's fine.
February 7th or 15,
Or call of chair.
here again. Okay. And then no public comment. What you looking for?
I'll make a
make-
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.